It can be surprisingly difficult to keep the question clear. For a moment, it seems we've got it. A moment later, it's slipped through our fingers. A conversation about what sort of life is truly worthy of our humanity becomes a conversation about tips and tricks to help us live a long, happy, healthy life. A question about the truth of flourishing life can suddenly become one about what sort of life we happen to want. Of all the communities where we've had these conversations, one stands out as most naturally able to keep the question clear. Within the cinder block walls of Danbury Federal Correctional Institution, incarcerated life-worth-living students have no problem tracking the distinction between what I want on the one hand and what's truly worth wanting on the other. They know themselves, in some sense, as criminals. Matt accidentally and red-facedly referred to one of them as such, and to a man, the course was taught in a men's facility, they owned the label entirely. That means they begin with the assumption that for a substantial period of their lives, they were wholeheartedly pursuing a mistaken vision of life. It was more or less exactly what they wanted, but it was not, in fact, worth wanting. This gave the men of Danbury FCI a serious leg up on just about all of their fellow life-worth-living students on the outside. As we take up the challenge of responding to the question, we want to help you distinguish the various related, but importantly different questions that will naturally present themselves as we attempt to home in on the question that so easily slips through our fingers. To do so, we'll describe 4 different modes of being in the world, each with its own characteristic kind of question. Sorting them out will help orient you among the questions we'll be wrestling with. One mode is reflexive, a spontaneous, embodied state of activity. We'll call it autopilot. The 3 other modes of being in the world are reflective. We'll call them effectiveness, self-awareness, and self-transcendence. Each of these modes has its own corresponding question, so there are 4 modes and 4 questions. No mode is bad in and of itself. All 4 need each other. We experience these 4 modes as layers, so we can imagine our interaction with them as a little like a deep sea dive. There's a surface layer, and then there are different zones underwater, each with its own characteristics. As in a dive, we generally move between adjacent layers, rather than jump over them. As we enter into deeper reflection, and we must, we move into deeper layers. When we move toward action, and we must, we move into higher layers. Each layer depends on the answers given to the questions asked at the layers below, even or especially when those questions haven't been answered explicitly. If we haven't answered one of these questions, perhaps it hasn't even occurred to us, everything we do, say, and think nevertheless shows evidence of some answer to it. We live answers to the deep questions of life, even if we couldn't give those same answers if we were asked for them point blank. All the more reason to dive in and get used to the deep water. It would be rude, however, to just push you off the boat without first telling you what to expect, so this chapter offers an orientation to the 4 layers.